Hi, everybody. It's me, Leo Brown, and welcome to another edition of Let's Talk About It Tuesday. I hope you guys are having a great Tuesday. I know I didn't preview or preference this, but I'm going to talk about this because I think it's important. So, what I'm going to talk about today on this great Tuesday is Black Lives Matter and the Black Lives Matter movement. And the reason why is because with everything that's been going on, everything with Breonna Taylor, George Floyd, Ahmaud Arbery, so much going on in the world. Uh, I wanted to really bring this up because I think this is important. And I also think that we as a culture, and I think we as a world, in my opinion, some of us, not all, but some of us have BLM or Black Lives Matter. We have it misconstrued. We don't really know what it believes. Now, from what I remember, because I remember Black Lives Matter becoming really relevant in, I think, 2012. It was right around Trayvon Martin, I believe. And correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but I believe it was around Trayvon's unfortunate passing. And and I believe that the Black Lives Matter movement was founded really in regards to justice regarding unjust killings of people of color, and not just Black people, but Latinos, Native Americans, anybody that doesn't fit the. And I don't want to make this a racist thing, but anybody that is not, that's not of African or of color. And I could be wrong in that, but I believe that's why it was founded, because so much had been going on around that time, because you had Trayvon, you had Tamir Rice, you had Eric Garner, you had, I'm trying to think of all the, Sandra Bland. You had so many things going on, and sometimes you had Michael Brown, sometimes going on at the same time. And then, of course, you had Philando Castile and things of that nature. So you had all these things going on. So I think a collective, and I believe it was founded by two women, and I believe one of them, I believe, is a lesbian. I believe, or identifies as queer. And they founded Black Lives Matter in the response to everything that was going on, but also for a demand for justice, for fairness, for equality, for all people, for all Black people. So just in case I'm wrong, I'm actually going to read their mission statement and see what it says here. So let me make sure. Okay, so it says 4 years ago, what is now known as the Black Lives Matter Global Network began to organize. It started out as a chapter-based, member-led organization whose mission was to build local power and to intervene when violence was inflicted on Black communities by the state and vigilantes. In the years since, we've committed to struggling together and to imagining and creating a world free of anti-Blackness, where every Black person has the social, economic, and political power to thrive. Let's see. Black Lives Matter began as a call to action in response to state-sanctioned violence and anti-Black racism. Our intention from the very beginning was to connect Black people from all over the world who have a shared desire for justice to act together in their communities. The impetus for that commitment was and still is the rampant and deliberate violence inflicted on us by the state. Enraged by the death of Trayvon Martin and the subsequent acquittal of his killer, George Zimmerman, and inspired by the 31-day takeover of the Florida State Capitol by Power U and the Dream Defenders, he took to the streets. A year later, we set out together on the Black Lives Matter Freedom Ride to Ferguson in search of justice for Mike Brown and all of those who have been torn apart by state-sanctioned violence and anti-Black racism. Forever changed, we returned home and began building the infrastructure for the Black Lives Matter global movement, which even in its infancy has become a political home for many. Ferguson helped us to catalyze a movement to which we've all helped give life. Organizers who call this network home have ousted anti-Black politicians, won critical legislation to benefit Black lives, and changed the terms of the debate on the Blackness around the world. Through movement and relationship building, we have also helped catalyze other movements and shifted culture with an eye toward the dangerous impacts of anti-Blackness. These are the results of our collective efforts. Let's see. The Black Lives Matter global movement is as powerful as it is because of our membership, our partners and supporters, our staff, and you. Our continued commitment to the liberation of all Black people means we are continuing to work of our ancestors and fighting for our collective freedom because it is our duty. Every day we recommit, to healing ourselves and each other into co-creating alongside comrades, allies, and family a culture which each person feels seen, heard, and supported. We acknowledge, respect, and celebrate differences and commonalities. We work vigorously for freedom and justice for Black people and, by extension, all people. We intentionally build and nurture a beloved community that is bonded together through a beautiful struggle that is restorative, not depleting. We are unapologetically Black in our positioning. In affirming that Black Lives Matter, we do not need to qualify our position. To love and desire freedom and justice for ourselves is a prerequisite for wanting the same for others. We see ourselves as part of the global Black family, and we are aware of the different ways we are impacted or privileged as Black people who exist in different parts of the world. We are guided by the fact that all Black lives matter, regardless of actual or perceived sexual identity, gender identity, gender expression, economic status, ability, disability, religious beliefs or disbeliefs, immigration status, or location. We make space for transgender brothers and sisters to participate and lead. We are self-reflective and do the work to dismantle cisgender privilege and uplift Black trans folk, especially Black trans women, who continue to be disproportionately impacted by trans antagonistic violence. Oh, I'm loving this. We build a space that affirms Black women and is free from sexism, misogyny, and environments in which men are centered. We practice empathy. We encourage comrades with the intent to learn about and connect with their contacts. We make our spaces family friendly and enable parents to fully participate with their children. We dismantle the patriarchal practice that requires mothers to work double shifts so that they can mother in private, even as they participate in public justice work. We disrupt I'm almost done, y'all, the Western prescribed nuclear family structure requirement by supporting each other as extended families and villages that collectively care for one another, especially our children, to the degree that mothers, parents, and children are comfortable. We foster a queer-affirming network. When we gather, we do so with the intention of freeing ourselves from the tight grip of heteronormative thinking, or rather the belief that all in the world are heterosexual unless he or she or they disclose otherwise. We cultivate an intergenerational and communal network free from ageism. We believe that all people, regardless of age, show up with the capacity to lead and learn. We embody and practice justice, liberation, and peace in our engagements with one another. Okay, well now we know. All right, so I pretty much read their mission statement, like what why they founded Black Lives Matter and what it stands for. And the reason why I wanted to come on and talk about this was because as of late, with everything, like I said, with everything going on, there's been a lot of misinformation. There's a video, or there was, I don't know if it's still going around, but there was a video of this woman. She's a Black woman, and I don't know her name. I don't know who she is. I don't know like anything. But what I do know is that there was a video going around where she was like, oh, Black Lives Matter, it's for the GLBT people only, and that's it. It has a GLBT or LGBT narrative and blah, 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 blah. And as you can see from what I just read, now this is from the Black Lives Matter website. If you don't believe me, you can go to it yourself, and I'll actually link it below so you can read it. Their mission statement basically is saying, we support and affirm all people. So when you hear things like all Black Lives Matter, they mean people like me who are gay, who are disabled, who are of different faiths. They mean the transgender man, the transgender woman, the genderqueer man, the disabled man, the disabled woman. They mean that. So personally, what I think Black Lives Matter means to me, Black Lives Matter to me is a symbol of pride. And it's a symbol of people, even allies, coming together and saying, you know what, though I may not understand your pain, I do acknowledge it. Because really and truly, if you really want to get, down to the get down, that's really all we're asking for. We're not asking for special treatment. We're not asking for, 40 acres and a mule, even though that was promised to us. We're not asking for any of that. We could be, but we're not. We're just asking for equal treatment, because let's keep it all the way funny. And I'm gonna say something that probably may offend a few people. And I don't mean to be offensive, but I'm just gonna say what I feel. We all have privilege. We just don't have the privilege that white people have had for eons, or people who are of European or Caucasus descent. Okay, we don't have that privilege. Meaning, whether you're rich, very rich, middle, or lower class, or working class, okay, because of the color of your skin, you don't have to worry about, well, I can go to the store and get a packet of Skittles and a Sprite and come home. You don't have to worry about, well, if I go out, will I come back? You don't have to worry about going to certain parts of Texas, like myself. I can't go to, is it Bader or Boulder? Somebody correct me in that. There are parts of Texas I cannot go to. I've been told that verbatim to my face. Like, if you know what's good for you, don't go to this part of Texas. Or, case in point, Ahmaud Arbery. I want to go jogging, okay? I'm doing the right thing to, keep myself in shape, be healthy. I'm in my own neighborhood, doing what I have to do. And I can't even go jogging. But see, as a white person, or not even a white person, because let's keep, it's not just white privilege, because there are privileges with other people too. Let's be honest, even certain Asians have this privilege. Okay? I've seen it. I've seen it with other races. It's not just white privilege here. There's privilege in every race and color. But as Black people, or people of African descent, whatever you want to call us, we have a different type of privilege. We don't have the privilege of going, as we saw, we don't have the privilege of going out to go for a job in our neighborhood without being followed, or why do you even live here? Or better yet, say you drive a BMW, or you drive a very nice, expensive car. Is this your car? Yes, as a matter of fact, it is. I pay the car note every month. Or better yet, I own my car. I don't believe you. You see? So it's that. That's why Black Lives Matter was founded. Because we are sick and tired as Black people, as people of African descent, of having an invisible target on our backs. There are so many mothers and grandmothers and great grandmothers and fathers who have children who worry about their children going out, going to the store, going to a concert, walking home from school. You see? So it's things of that nature. That's why this movement is important. It's not just about it. I mean, it is about the unjust acts that have occurred. It is about that. But it's also about being treated with respect, being treated equally, and being treated fairly. And for those of you who are like, oh, well, I'm a white person and, I don't have white privilege. I was born poor. I'm poor white trash. Okay, sweetheart. Being the fact that you are white, you have a privilege that I will never have. You may not make it to a manager, like let's go down the list. You may not make it to a management position, but I guarantee you'll get close to it. Despite your limited education, you'll be the first one to be seen for an interview, okay? Because your name is Haley or Ashley or Trevor or Kyle or Chad. But say my name is Malik or Hakeem or a girlfriend of mine, Latoya, Octavia, even though we know these names because you have Latoya Jackson, you have Octavia Spencer, but those are special cases. And even if you look at that, let's look at let's look at the entertainment industry. Let's look at Viola Davis and let's look at Meryl Streep. Like she said in the interview, and I don't remember, I wish I knew what interview this was, but she's like, I've got them all. I've got the Golden Globe, I've got the Oscar. She's an EGOT. She's got the Emmy, she's got the Tony, she's got all the things, all the major awards. But she's called, she's the Black Meryl Streep. She can do anything. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, right? But as she said, if I am all these things that you guys are saying that I am, why am I not being paid the same amount of money? But more importantly, why am I not given the opportunities that a Meryl or Nicole or Julianne or Sandra? Why am I not given the opportunities that they get? If I'm so great of an actress, if I'm so good at what I do, if my work is so critically acclaimed and so well received, why am I not getting the opportunities that Meryl has been getting since day one? Even when she's done flops, she's still been allotted because, oh, she's so versatile. She can do anything. She can do comedy. She's the queen of the accent. You know, and no shade to Miss Meryl. I love me some Meryl Streep. I love her down. I do. Even though I do question her thing about Mr. Weinstein, but that's on the video. But if she is all these things, she's all these things, why is the playing field not fair? And you can even go down into television, for instance. Look at Tracee Ellis Ross. Tracee Ellis Ross is a beautiful, wonderful comedic actress. She's a great comedic actress. She has great comedic timing. I followed her career way before she was on Girlfriends, when she even was on the Lyricist Lounge show. And right now, I think she's the highest paid woman in TV, I believe. But yet she's never won an Emmy for her role in Blackish. And Blackish has been going on for what, 6 or 7 seasons? The only person that has won an Emmy for their work was Jackie Harry. And that was when she was in 2007, and that was in 1988 or 89, one of the two. So that's the point. If you're so good, if I'm so good at what I do, why do I have to fight and claw and literally, you know, what am I trying to say? And just like work twice as hard. Even me, even in my profession, even in what I do, they'll give it to and here's the thing. I applaud people like Tyler, I was about to say Tyler Perry. Well, I do applaud Tyler Perry though, even though I don't applaud his writing, but that's a whole other show too. But I applaud the Tyler Henrys and the Thomas Johns and the Teresa Caputos of the world. But, and I've said this before and I will continue to say it until my last breath, why am I not seeing people like me that have an extra sensory ability, that have PSG, that have ESP, that have psychic abilities, that are good at what they do, that have integrity. And it doesn't have to be me, but why are there not people like me on TV? Why they're not? Why doesn't astrologer Wayne Gonzalez have a show? Why doesn't life coach Jerome Braggs have a show? Why doesn't Savon Chample have a show? Why do they not have the platforms that the Teresa Caputos and people like that have? And yes, we had Walter Mercado, may he rest in eternal peace. Love me some Walter. But even that wasn't enough. Okay? So why are we not seeing people that look like me? Because, like I always say, if I'm a little boy or a little girl or whomever, and I'm in anywhereville, USA, and I don't see, and I look on TV and I see someone like me reading cards, doing tarot, doing a good job, and really, and not just doing fluff and saying a bunch of bullshit, but really telling the truth, really helping people to grow, to heal, coming in with compassion, really being relatable. And if I had those abilities, and I'm a little boy, little girl, whatever, that will make me feel like, okay, I can do that too. I can help the world, maybe not in that way, but I can do that too. I can do the same thing. And yes, we do have more visibility in terms of the gay, the GLBT community, like polls and things like that. But even in that, that's kind of a one-sided view. Because not everybody's a Billy Porter. Not everybody's a Laverne Cox. And and I like them. I like them all as actors and actresses. But not all of them can, not all of us are that or can be that. It's great that you're seeing representation, but you're not seeing enough representation. That's why people honestly miss the 90s. Because in the 90s, you had in the I would say mid to late 80s and going into like maybe the mid 90s, you had representation of Black people and people of color, but in different ways. We weren't all monolithic. We didn't all grow up in the ghetto. You had South Central, then you had Moesha, then you had let me think of something. Then you had Where I Live. Then you had Between Brothers. Then, like, you had so many different aspects of the Black experience. You had a different world. You had the Cosby Show. You had the Jeffersons. You know, and even for the Latinos, you had different things. I don't remember some of the shows. You had Laurel Avenue on HBO, if anybody remembers that. So this is why, and even though I wouldn't say entertainment, but what I'm saying is, this is why when it comes to BLM, when it comes to Black Lives Matter, this is what we're saying. We're saying we matter out here. Our representation matters. Because if it didn't, you wouldn't need a Lieutenant Uhura on Star Trek. If it didn't, you wouldn't need a Black Panther. Though Black Panther was written by a white Jewish man, but you wouldn't need that. If it didn't, Black Panther would have never made $1 million at the box office. Ever. If you didn't, and that's why you have Black Lives Matter. That's what Black Lives Matter to me. That's what it means. It means representation, but it also means justice. It also means fairness. Like I said before, we're not saying roll out a gold carpet for us and give us everything you got, even though we could do that, because it's like that woman said, and she didn't lie, but I think I saw it on Trevor Noah when she said, "You're lucky we're doing this out of anger," when the protests were really getting, really going on. Not saying they're not going on now, but you're lucky we're doing this out of anger and not revenge, because it's true. And it's not just Black people. It's Black people. It's Tonto people. Tano, I hope I'm saying it correctly. Forgive me. Chicano people. It's everybody that has had injustice. It's Asian people, my East Asian and South Asian brothers and sisters. I love y'all. Okay, because my thing is, if I can sit up here and listen to K-pop and want to eat ramen and all, I can also be an ally for when one of my brothers and sisters goes through something. Okay, same thing with South Asian people. Because let's be real, let's talk about, I'm gonna go into it. Let's talk about discrimination within our own communities. Let's talk about the good hair versus bad hair, and the light skin versus dark skin. Though personally, I love me a nice chocolate person. And I don't mean to say it like that, but I don't care what color you are. Just be a decent human being. Really, because that was really a bad joke. But anyway, but let's talk about how within the Latino community you have people who think because they are lighter than they have more of the Spanish, the conquistadors. There we go. Ancestry in them, that they are better. I've seen that with my own eyes. I will never forget, I was friends with this girl, her name was Cena, and her name was Laura. And they were Puerto Rican, but they were lighter skinned Puerto Ricans. And you couldn't tell them hoes that they weren't Italian. I mean, so much to the point to where they were like, I'm gonna marry an Italian man, and his name gonna be Luciano. And I'm like, girl, no ma'am, no. Because in my mind, I'm gonna be real. My Latino brothers and sisters, y'all are my cousins. Okay? I'll bring the pinto beans. You bring your beans. Come on, honey, we can make it work. I'll bring collard greens. You bring what you bring. Okay? In my mind, we are all related to me. The only difference is you speak Spanish, I do not. The only difference is that your boat stopped in Cuba, Puerto Rico. Your boat stopped in the Dominican Republic. Your boat stopped there. My boat stopped in Alabama, Florida, Louisiana, Georgia. Okay? But I am no different than you. Trust me. Because once we sit down, if we were to sit down and have a frank, open discussion, we would see how much we are really interconnected. So for me, like I said, Black Lives, and for those of you who are listening, Black Lives Matter is not about defunding the police and anti-whiteness and and making white people pay. It's not about that. It's about just fairness. And us and not just Black people, but even our allies acknowledging, yes, you are a Black person. But not only that, but you're awesome. And you matter. And what happens to you matters to us. Whether you are a disabled Black person, you're transgender, you're queer, you're gay, you're whatever. It's not, because I think the reason why I want to talk about this is because I've been seeing lately people keep saying that BLM is a terrorist organization. It's not. Now, mind you, I understand it makes you uncomfortable, but in order for things to truly change, you have to get uncomfortable. If that wasn't true, we wouldn't have therapists. Okay, good ones. So no. So I just felt like I had to come on and say this, talk about this, because I think this is important. I'm a Black man first before anything, and my life does matter. And if you are a person of color, if you are an ally, if you are a Black person, I want to let you know that you matter to me, and hopefully to anyone who's watching this. So with that being said, I want to know what you think. What do you think about BLM? Do you think their tactics are smart? Do you think they are going about it right? What does Black Lives Matter mean to you? Leave your comments below. Let me know what you think. And until next time, it's me, Leo Brown, and I'll talk to you soon. Okay? Bye-bye.